Before we begin, please subscribe and like this channel so you never miss a new true story. My wife texted me from the airport. "Don't wait up, we're staying an extra week." That was 15 years into our marriage, and I should have seen it coming. Not the text itself, the distance that had been growing like a quiet cancer beneath the surface of our lives. But I'm getting ahead of myself. My name is Marcus Thompson, and I'm 63 years old. I built a commercial real estate portfolio across Atlanta, starting from nothing. A scholarship to Howard, a job at a small firm, and 30 years of 14-hour days. By the time I was 55, I owned 12 properties, had a 7-figure net worth, and had retired early to enjoy what I thought would be the best years of my life. I'd been married to Patricia for 28 years. We had 2 children, both grown and launched. I thought I had it all figured out. Patricia had always been social, more social than me if I'm honest. She loved events, travel, groups of women from church and her book club and her yoga studio. I loved her for it. She brought light into rooms I'd spent too much time in, hunched over spreadsheets and lease agreements. When she asked to go on a girls' trip to Cancun with 6 of her closest friends that spring, I said yes without hesitation. 2 weeks, she said. You'll barely notice I'm gone. That's when she texted that I shouldn't wait up, that they'd found a villa for the 2nd week, and everyone's husbands had agreed, so they were extending. I didn't argue. I never argued with Patricia. That was part of our dynamic, I suppose. She was the expressive one. I was the calm one. She made the emotional choices. I made the practical ones. It had worked for nearly 3 decades. Why wouldn't it keep working? What I didn't know was that she was in Cancun with 2 of her friends and 5 men she'd met at the resort. What I didn't know was that one of those men was Marcus. Yes, another Marcus. A resort activities coordinator who was 29 years old and had been feeding my wife compliments and attention for 10 days straight. I found out the way anyone finds out in 2024. A photo on Instagram. Not posted by Patricia, but by one of the other women. A group shot at a beach bar. Patricia's arm linked through the arm of a man who looked young enough to be her son, both of them mid-laugh, margaritas in hand, sunset in the background. The caption read, "Living our best lives." I stared at that photo for a long time. Not angry, not even hurt exactly. Just studying it. The way she looked at him, the way she'd tilted toward him. Comfortable in a way I hadn't seen her with me in at least 5 years. When she came home 2 days later, I helped her carry her bags inside. She was glowing, literally glowing. She kissed me on the cheek and said, "God, Marcus, I needed that so badly. You have no idea." I knew then. Not the details, but the fundamental truth. My marriage was over. Here's what most people don't understand about patience. It's not weakness. It's not even kindness, necessarily. Sometimes patience is just clarity, seeing the whole picture instead of reacting to one frame. And when you see the whole picture, you don't flail. You plan. For 3 months, I watched. I was gentle with Patricia, attentive even. I asked about her days, her friends, her plans. I gave her space. And I watched the patterns. The late-night phone calls she'd take in the garage. The new lingerie I found in a bag in the back of her closet. The way she started talking about maybe taking another trip to Cancun for her mental health. Meanwhile, I called my lawyer. A good one. Someone I'd worked with for 15 years on my business deals. I told him the situation, and he nodded like he'd heard it 1,000 times before. Which, I suppose, he had. "You want to protect your assets," he said. It wasn't a question. "I want to know my options," I said. He explained Georgia's divorce laws, equitable distribution, the fact that much of my real estate portfolio was acquired during our marriage, and would likely be considered marital property. He walked me through the numbers, the scenarios, and then he asked me the important question: do you want to make this as clean as possible, or do you want to make sure she understands what she's losing? I thought about that for a long time. Patricia was never a bad person. She was a good mother, a devoted friend, a woman who volunteered at church and remembered everyone's birthday. She just wasn't someone who was satisfied anymore. And instead of talking to me about it, instead of giving us a chance to work through it or to end it with grace, she'd chosen deception. That I couldn't let stand. So I did something quiet. Nothing illegal, nothing cruel, just thorough. I began the process of documenting everything, not for the divorce, but for clarity. I had my lawyer send a certified letter to Patricia's mother, her sister, her closest friends in the church, and to both of our adult children. The letter was written by my lawyer, professional and factual, but it said everything. Dates, the resort name, the names of the other men involved. I'd had a private investigator confirm. The photos. It detailed the pattern of infidelity and deception. It made clear that I was filing for divorce, and it made clear why. But here's the thing I want you to understand. I didn't do it to humiliate her. I did it because people deserve to know who they're dealing with. Because silence is how these things continue. Because my children deserve to know the truth about their mother from me, not from whispers and assumptions. The letter arrived on a Thursday. Patricia called me at 2 p.m., her voice shaking. "What have you done?" she whispered. "What was necessary?" I said quietly. "My mother's devastated. Everyone's looking at me like..." "Like what?" I asked. "Like someone who cheated on her husband of 28 years. Like someone who lied. That's because that's exactly what you did, Patricia." There was silence on the line. "I'm filing for divorce," I continued. "My lawyer will be in touch with yours. I'm asking for a clean split based on Georgia's equitable distribution laws. The house is yours to buy out or sell. Half of my portfolio, as the law dictates. I'm not trying to destroy you, but I'm also not going to pretend this didn't happen. And I'm not going to let you rewrite the narrative to our family and friends. They deserve the truth." "You're going to regret this," she said. And I could hear the anger now, the panic beneath it. "No," I said. "I'm going to move forward. You're welcome to do the same." I hung up the phone. What happened after was messy in the way divorces are messy. Lawyers, negotiations, difficult conversations with my kids. But it was also clean, because I'd already done the emotional work. I wasn't surprised. I wasn't blindsided by my own reactions. I'd already grieved the marriage and the future I thought I'd have. Patricia tried to salvage things at first. She called, apologized, said it had been a mistake, that she'd been having a midlife crisis. For about a week, I considered it, considered whether forgiveness might be possible, whether we could rebuild. Then I got a message from a number I didn't recognize. It was a photo of a Cancun hotel reservation confirmation for next month, for Patricia and Marcus S. That was when I knew I'd made the right choice. The divorce was finalized 8 months later. I kept 4 of the 12 properties. I kept my retirement accounts. I kept my dignity. Patricia got the house, 4 properties, and a significant settlement. She also got the knowledge that everyone who mattered in her life knew exactly what she'd done and why. That resort activities coordinator. He ghosted her the moment she stopped going back to Cancun. She found out through mutual friends. I didn't take pleasure in it, but I wasn't surprised. These days, I'm 63 years old, retired, and genuinely content. I travel, real travel, intentional travel. I mentor young real estate professionals. I have a close relationship with my children, who eventually understood that I'd handled things with grace and honesty. I date occasionally, nothing serious, but I'm open to what life brings. And Patricia? She's still in the house, still trying to rebuild her reputation in church circles, still posting carefully curated Instagram photos. She hasn't remarried. She asked me once, through a mutual friend, if I regretted how things ended. I told them to tell her. I regret that she made the choices she did. But I don't regret holding her accountable for them. That's not revenge. That's just self-respect. And at this stage of life, that's the best revenge there is.